The place is here and the time is now. Let's take it round for round. And people gather round. Let's see who can win the crown. All the marbles involved. Football, baseball, or golf. Who's dominating the hoops? Who's talking false or the truth? Yeah, come and show me your war face. I'll show you my war face. No host boss, so for your sake, you better show up in good shape. Valuable information is key to your domination. So focus on preparation. Online is your reputation. Yeah, it's one-on-one. You and me, ain't no fear in me. You will see. When it comes to this, you'll be wearing the number 23. In debate, I hold my weight, cause these sports I'm attached to it. Your legacy, get ready, cause I'm gonna set a match to it. Hey. Burn 'em, fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire, 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 burn 'em. Fire, 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 legacy on fire.
You're muted. You're muted.
Dio, you're muted.
Hear you, bro.
Heck, are we muted? Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the blooper segment of the Legacy Maker Sports Network.
That thing is insane.
That being said, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Take it from the top, Darrell.
All right. I guess the theme song just got to play. Hey, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. Well, I don't think it's going to play again. I don't think it's going to play again. But here's the crazy thing: graphics are just popping up for other shows. So I do apologize, y'all. Like it's going insane. So
We're having all sorts of technical difficulties.
It was crazy. Tonight. So all right, so it's been a crazy. Like, first of all, we're sorry for the delay. We're supposed to be at 30 minutes. As you can tell, Lamonte having technical problems. And so we was like, hey, look, man, we promised y'all a show. We're going to do the best we can as long as the graphics don't go kookanutty. But it's so far, so good. First of all, once again, everybody, once again, everybody, thank you all for tuning in. Legacy on Fire. Man, what a way to start the show. We were just having a conversation about technical difficulties, and there they are. But with all that being said, we would like to thank our Bowie TV audience for joining us for tonight's episode. And also with me today, I got my guys with me. Of course, he's lead panelist here on Legacy on Fire. Falcons Insider, my man, he got lucky last week, Mr. James Brown.
What's going on, man? I wouldn't call it luck. It was precision offense when needed, key defensive stops. Like we said on the Green and Gold podcast, man, definitely came down to a lot of our keys there. Glad we pulled it out, but glad to be back with you boys as well. Discuss sports for another week.
Yeah, it was a tough one for me. I'm not even gonna sit there and lie to you. I was a little bit hurt, but it is what it is.
Who knew the Falcons could finish games? Who knew?
Who knew? And to his left, our man who is the co-host of Commonwealth Sports Talk, and you can't see him, but like John Cena, he is still there in some form of the fashion. Our man, Mr. Lamont Thomas. How you doing, Lamont? Lamont, can you hear us?
What's up, man? I'm trying to make it out here. Can't be seen, so I guess I gotta make sure I'm heard.
Can you hear me? Yeah, we can hear you, brother. I'm telling you, I think that's what this episode is going to be. It's hilarious. It's hilarious. And of course, with us today, Legacy Maker sports contributor. And he's got a great show coming out, episode 2 coming out tomorrow in Sports Ballology. Let me tell you something. If you haven't had a chance to watch the show, you're going to get a giggle. I can promise you that. But that one will be dropping tomorrow at 6:30. So make sure y'all check that out on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Cannot wait for y'all to see that. My man and our Virginia Tech correspondent, Mr. Joey Raymond. How you doing, Joey?
Dude, I'm doing great. What's up, guys? Yeah. Sports Biology drops tomorrow, episode 2. like Dio said, that the show is meant for people who maybe kind of want to get into sports, but are kind of on the fence because whether us sports people realize it or not, we do kind of gatekeep sports, whether we want to believe ourselves or not, we definitely do it. So it's to get people kind of into sports that really aren't. It's more for the common person, and we definitely do a lot of comedy. It's really, really funny. It's such a fun show. Definitely check it out, guys, for sure.
My man, Chris. That's all I'm gonna say about that. All right, let's go ahead and head to one sentence. If it treats us right. I guess the sound worked. It looked like it was.
Oh, it muted you again, Dio.
Got to get this fixed. This is absolutely insane. This happened to me in 2 shows this week. I had to do one show completely over. I said I want my money back. Anyway, with that being said, I'm not even gonna hit no videos tonight. We just going through the graphics. Hopefully they don't treat us bad. Let's go ahead and start off with one sentence. And our first one is going to be about our man, Coach Prime. It has been an adventure in college football so far with Coach Prime and his team, and the effect on college football right now has been absolutely intriguing all the way around. So I want one sentence from the fellas. What is your thoughts, your one sentence on Coach Prime's effect on college football? And I'll start this one with James. James, what is your one sentence on Coach Prime's effect on college football?
I'd say, in a sense, man, my one sentence would have to be, prime time is monumental. I mean, we've seen him come in. He started off at Jackson State, HBCU level. He turned the program around there. He got, pretty much better everything for the kids on campus when it came to his program. He did everything he could for them. He got them sponsors. He got them new uniforms, chartered flights, suits, the whole nine. He revolutionized the program, and he left the man in charge now a blueprint for how to run things at that level to make sure that, it sustains after he's gone. Now he's jumped to Colorado, and we saw where he flipped an entire roster with the use of the transfer portal that everyone has access to, but he was able to get kids from all over because they know the name, they recognize who he is, they know who he is, and they look up to him, and he's able to relate to these kids. And we've seen it already. Colorado won 1 game last year. So far, they're 3-0, with a chance really against this weekend to possibly take on Oregon and even win that. So,
prime time's here. Prime time's here. Joy, we head to you next, man. What is your one sentence on the prime time effect in college football?
So I went with all eyes on you. And what I mean by that is, he has the attention of every single college football fan in the world right now. And it's crazy how much he's turned that program around and how many people are watching what he's able to do with the transfer portal, with NIL, et cetera, et cetera. Game 1 had 7.26 million views. Game 2 had 8.73 million views. And Game 3 had 9.3 million views. It was ESPN's 5th most watched regular season game ever. And so, definitely something that everybody's paying attention to. And, yeah, I think he's really kind of revolutionized how to use the transfer portal and NIL, and everybody's watching him. So all eyes on you, Coach Prime.
Hey, look, I was there till, I don't know, 12 o'clock. I was there till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, Colorado time. Y'all, look, and I thought I was like, man, everybody on the East Coast sleep. I go to my phone, everybody and their mama tell me, man, Coach Brian got me up here till 2 o'clock in the morning watching football. And that's the whole vibe. That was the whole vibe that I had on my phone. As I was going back to the hotel, I thought it was crazy. Lamont, we head to you. What's your one sentence on Coach Prime's effect on college football?
Yeah, my one sentence is gonna be hate it or love it. Because as you can see, Dion is at the pinnacle of college football right now, and the route that he took to get there, it's just it has everybody watching, for whatever reason you want to watch. Just like Joey said, he's got everybody, even people who don't watch college football are watching, to see what happens next with Prime. Man, he wanted to be the coach of Florida State. They went another direction. He grounded it out with Jackson State as a father and as a leader of young men. And now he's doing exactly what he set out to do. They even tried to, say that he was a sellout and he sold HBCUs out, and he did exactly what he wanted to do in that realm, and now he's doing it on the biggest stage ever, and with some of the same kids. So it's like you can hate it or love it, but you can't deny what Deion's doing for the game right now.
It's been absolutely amazing. I'm gonna tell you right now, just from my experience before we move on, I went into this stadium. First of all, the stadium's old. I give it 3 years, and they have a brand new stadium because of Deion, and because it is the stadium has been there since early '90s, going into the '80s or whatnot, if not longer than that. And so when you get in there, it's just like, all right, we get down on the field, and next thing you know, I thought I heard. You heard that? I was like, well, wait a minute. I thought it was a starship. But you get in there, and then you just see like all these celebrities just keep popping up. First, it was. First person I saw was Master P. I'm like, is Master P here? What is going on? So Master P pops up. He's got his son who plays at Louisville. He's there with him. Then we saw T-Pain. He popped up. T-Pain's here. Okay, cool. Then T-Pain comes, and then here comes who was Kawhi Leonard. And we've all seen the meme of Kawhi Leonard out there. Man can't even show up at his games, but he had this primetime game. But and then we saw the Rocks. It was just a great experience. That school is really going to take off, and it's going to be fun to see. All right, we had our next one on one sentence, and that one will be NFL player that has disappointed you the most so far this season. I think this is going to be a fun one because I know it's early, and so we still got a lot of time before we really will see who's disappointing. But it's been 2 games. And so I guess the question at hand is, who's disappointing you the most? Lamont, I'm going to stick with you. Which NFL player, your one sentence, is disappointing you the most?
I wish I can give it to a group, but I'm going to say is Fields for now. But just because of the what I said, I thought, he'd be able to do with this roster. But really, it's still on the offensive line. They have to be one of the worst in the league right now. And it's a bad deal. They rank somewhere crazy. I think 31st or 30. I think 30th or 31st in the run game. They're really bad in the passing game as well. And it's like Fields doesn't have a chance to turn the corner with his decision making because he's trying to survive back there. So it's just a really bad deal. So, I mean, it's not all on him, but I do feel like that, he can't get his decision making together because of that offensive line.
Yeah, it's rough. It's a really rough deal. I almost feel bad for him, but he's a Chicago Bears quarterback. Joey Raymond, what is your one sentence of the NFL players that's disappointing you the most so far this season?
I actually went kind of a similar route, but I actually went with Joe Burrow and the Bengals.
Look at James.
Yeah, I mean, like it's one of those things. Let's be real. The offensive line for the Bengals has been just as trashy as the Bears. I mean, like I watched both of the Cincinnati games, and both times Joe Burrow is running for his life. His completion percentage this year is 11 points below his career average. His passer rating is 20 points below his career average. And I don't know, man, if I'm Cincinnati, I am smashing that panic button as hard as I possibly can. Because the defense can't make important stops. The offense, it looks abysmal. And for a team that was predicted to go to the Super Bowl, you're starting out 0-2. That's
rough.
It's rough, man.
It's a rough deal. It's a rough deal. James, ahead to you. I'm thinking I know who you're gonna pick. But James, ahead to you. What's your one sentence the NFL player that's disappointing you the most?
Man, I had Joe Burrow, but I guess I'm gonna shift to my backup in this situation, which unfortunately for LT is his starter, Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson, I'd probably say at this point, is going to be my second most disappointed player so far this season. I mean, Russell coming into the season, we saw that the Broncos, they got Sean Payton, offensive genius, mastermind. He's got the Super Bowl championship from New Orleans. He's bringing his style to Denver. And we saw in the first couple of weeks, the Broncos were favored at home in both games against the Vegas Raiders and this past week against the Commanders. And Russell had flashes where it seemed that it was clicking. And then there were just moments where it was just like when the game was on the line, he no longer has that clutch gene or that clutch factor. He can no longer make the needed throws to just get the team over the top. I mean, we even saw the Hail Mary where it looked like a glimpse of the former Russell, but it was a little bit of luck with the tip, and the guy just happened to be in the right area. And then you come out for the 2-point play to tie, and it's like, dude, what the hell was that? So, Russell Wilson, we need the old Russ back.
Look, I'm going to give you a quick perspective on this. So obviously, I feel like I was at all these games this weekend. This is insane. I'm here and I'm watching the game, and my initial thought was, man, they in trouble. Like Washington's in trouble. But when the fumble happened, when Jamin Davis caused the fumble, everything changed from there. A whole different perspective from that point on. And Russell struggled. And that's when the defense was really getting on. And that offensive line collapsed at the wrong time for Denver, and Russell just didn't have a chance. The Hail Mary was pretty cool to see. Before we move on, the guy beside me, the photographer, I said, okay, they made that last play. I said, they're going to score here. He said, they're not scoring. I said, dude, you got to remember now, Russell Wilson has done this multiple times. He's going to get it in the right place. They're going to score. Now, they're not going to win the game, but they're going to score. He said, man, get out of here. All right, cool. Sit there, boom, touchdown happens. He looked at me like this. I'm like, yeah. He said, how did you know? He said, how did you know? I said, as a Packers fan, I've seen it twice. I said, as a Packers fan, he's done it to me twice. And so I knew it was going to happen here. And so, yes, that is why it happened. But anyway.
Just to get this dig in there, Russell Wilson lost his clutch gene when they wouldn't let him, let Marshall Lynch run into the end zone and had him throw an interception to Malcolm Butler.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, moving on.
Exactly. But you hit it on the hair on that one. All right, let's head. I was going to play the video. I'm not even going to set us up like that. We're going to go to the fire starters next. And the next one. And this one is the biggest NFL injury so far. We've had some big names go down. So I'm kind of interested where y'all guys think the biggest injury right now that is affecting an NFL team. And there's a couple big ones. We had one today that is going to affect a very talented defense in the NFC East. So, Joey, I'm going to start with you first. What's the biggest injury in your mind right now that's kind of just like really taken away from a team?
So I think two things here. I think when you completely redo your entire roster for one player, and that being Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, I think that's going to make a huge impact. But also, I think that the Browns is probably more impactful with Nick Chubb because their offense is strictly based on being able to run the football and then being able to get, the defense to open up and be able to pass off of that run game. And when you lose your most important running back in Nick Chubb, it makes it really hard. And me and you, Dio, talked about this at length. That was the most disgusting injury I've ever seen in my life. And I watched it once and I couldn't even bring myself to do it again. So I wish him a speedy recovery. But yeah, I definitely think that the Browns injury in Nick Chubb is more impactful for sure.
All right. So, I mean, for me, I'm going to piggyback off of that. I think, it was really hard to see. The closest thing I seen to it is when Alex Smith went down back in 2018. I was there for that, and that jank sucked. Lamont, we heading to you. Biggest NFL injury so far in your mind?
Well, I mean, besides the obvious ones, you got Chubb, you got Aaron Rodgers. I'm gonna piggyback off of the answer that Joey gave last, and I think that lingering injury for Joe Burrow is actually might be one of the biggest injuries going on. And I say that because if it is something that lingers and it doesn't put him out and he plays with it, the Bengals have no chance, right? Because it's almost like a demise. Like he may be better off setting out some games to get himself fully healthy, because if he has to be the savior of this team and he's handicapped, then we can't We can't see that. We won't see that. And as a Super Bowl favorite team, we know that he has to be the best Joe Cool we've ever seen for the Bengals to survive. And I think that might be one of the ones that we got to watch closely.
Yeah, it's a really tough deal right now for Cincinnati, and he was out at practice today. But I mean, at this point, I would even say you just spent all that money on Joe Cool, right? You spent a lot of money on Joe Cool. Let that man rest. Let that man. I know you got Super Bowl aspirations, but you got to make sure that your star quarterback is healthy, man. That's a tough one to go with, and I understand it, but you gotta take care of your guy. James, we head to you next, man. The biggest NFL injury so far in your mind. If you want to talk about multiples, but what's the biggest one in your mind right now?
Oh, biggest one. We can cover multiples, but the biggest one for sure is definitely Aaron Rodgers. I mean, we talked about that. Well, we touched on that prior to the season starting. You know, I thought the Jets would be like the most disappointing team of the season. And kind of almost on cue, game one, it did happen. I mean, Rodgers goes down a few minutes into the game. Then it's like, all right, he's out for the game. And wait, he tears an Achilles. And just like that, all of the wind that was in the Jet sails, it seems to just regress. You know, they're back to the same team they had last year with Zach Wilson doing what he can. Mekhi Becton, somewhat still of a turnstile out there, right tackle. They can run the ball, but that's really about it. And the defense is just gassed because they're playing most of the downs because the offense can't move the ball. So Rodgers is still the most devastating. Chubbs is definitely second for Cleveland. I mean, the fact that he pretty much was their offense. He was kind of like that security blanket for Deshaun Watson. You can just turn around and hand it off. Well, he's gone now. So Watson has to figure it out. And if you're the Browns, that's a hell of a loss, man. They're a running team, and they just lost their heart and soul in Nick Chubb.
Well, I'll tell you this. I had a friend of mine, and Jeff, just know I love you, man, before I say this out loud. But I had a friend of mine, my man Jeff Campbell, been a long supporter of the network. Met him a long while ago through Walmart. And so he sends me a message early. He's like, Darrell, man. He's like, Diggs is gone. Like, I said, Diggs is gone. I said, what you mean? He's like, he out for the season. So I thought he was talking about Stephon Diggs because I'm like, I'm going to the game this week. I thought that's who he was talking about. Not putting two to two together. He's a Cowboys fan. He's like, Darrell, I'm crying, man. I'm like, you going to be all right? He's like, no, man. He was hurt. And I know that Trayvon Diggs is going to be a big deal for that Dallas defense. I think they're still good enough that they can kind of overcome not having him to an extent. I mean, he's a big loss, but I think they still will be good enough to kind of get over that. But that was a big one to see him go down. And another big injury. We're only 3 weeks into the season, and we're seeing some stars go down. And that was at practice today. So that's a really tough one right there for Dallas, and hopefully for a speedy recovery from that. Dallas fans are hurting right now, but it'll get better, guys. You're still, the people are looking at y'all as Super Bowl contenders right now.
He was a big reason for the shutout against the Giants. I mean, that man was all over that field.
Yeah, I can see why they're hurt a little bit. Next one on the fire starters. All right, so here we go. It's been 2 weeks into the NFL season. And yes, we've got, I believe, 9 undefeated teams left that are 2-0. And it's early, but I am intrigued to see who y'all think are the most surprising NFL team after 2 weeks. James, I'm going to go with you first. In your eyes, which team is the most surprising NFL team after 2 weeks?
After 2 weeks, I'd say the most surprising NFL team is division rival and favorite team of a guy here on the network, co-founder. Matter of fact, Jay. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Jay right quick and his Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because in my eyes, after through 2 weeks, they're the most surprising NFL team. I mean, this was a team where Tom Brady left, and pretty much they were written off immediately. They signed Baker Mayfield, and everyone thought, well, hey, Tampa's definitely tanking. They're looking to get Williams. They're looking to get Drake May. And through the first 2 weeks, man, Tampa's been balling. Week 1, they went into Minnesota. They took on a Vikings team that, pretty much everybody had them losing to, and Baker shines. Baker delivers a win. Week 2, they play who was it last week? They played
the Bears. They got the Bears.
They played the Bears, and the Bears, team that we thought were up and comers, and Tampa just throttles them at home at Raymond James Stadium. So it's like, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they're definitely not a slouch the season that we thought. Maybe Baker Mayfield has resurrected himself down in Tampa. Brady resurrected his career there. Maybe Baker is following in his footsteps. We'll see what happens, but Tampa's off to a hell of a start.
Well, I'm gonna. It's funny that you say that because, like, I felt like he looks more confident than I've seen him in a long time. And then it doesn't hurt to have Mike Evans, who continues to just ball out. And here's the thing with Mike Evans, he's in a contract or in a contract type situation, and he came out there and said, "Look, I'm here to play." And he's going to go out there and prove that he's worth every bit of money that whoever pays him or whatever they trade or whatever ends up happening there. But he looks great so far. He's having another great Mike Evans season, and the guy's a Hall of Famer without. And it's going to be hard to not put this guy in the Hall of Fame one day, but I digress. Next, Lamonte, most surprising NFL team after 2 weeks. Lamont, you there, buddy? Okay, there we go.
I'm so sorry you can't see my face. Yeah, bro. Those Falcons are falconing, bro. Let's go. Hey, man. I said, when the season started that I thought that, I had them win a division, but I had the division being weak. So far, I'm wrong about that with 3-2-0 teams. But to me, it wasn't Bijan. It wasn't the offense clicking. To me, it's the defense, right? I think we talked about it, and you said you were confident, in the moves that they made. You liked that you broke it down, and I was like, I had to see it. Well, I'm seeing it. They only allowed 135 yards per game in the first 2 games. Ooh. Front four looks good. Defensive scheme looks good. Mr. Bates is balling back there at safety. Oh my gosh! In week 1, it was such a gift to see him. Like, he's doing his thing. I like what I'm seeing from the Falcons right now. James, if the Broncos keep playing like they are, I might have to turn off my games and watch yours, man.
You're more than welcome to. I just hope we keep it up, man. That's all I'm hoping for.
If that's the case, put on some Luda and welcome me to Atlanta, bro.
You know what? Like, I'm in there. I'm in there no matter what.
I got you.
It's funny, man. Like I definitely was impressed on the offensive side, but I will say AJ Terrell is is special. I mean, we knew he was good.
Man, they look great.
We knew he was good. I got a chance before Green and Gold Over Everything came out last night. Shameless plug. Make sure you go back and check that out. It came out today, but you can go watch it anyway. But we went to I was watching it, I went to go on NFL the NFL Plus, which is a godsend. And I went back and rewatched the Falcons game, and I sat there, and all I heard, the broadcasters just raving about AJ Terrell. And I'm gonna tell you what, the guy is absolutely special. Like, the ball hawk, and they talked about how he knew when to turn it on and when to turn it off, and you saw every bit of that. And Jordan Love got lucky; he didn't get picked off. Joey, we head to you, man. Most surprising team after 2 weeks in the NFL.
You ready for this, James? Because we got to double down. Because I'm gonna go with the Atlanta Falcons as well.
People sleep on us like this. Okay, but we'll take the flowers now. We'll take the flowers.
They are balling out right now, man. Like, I did not suspect Ritter to be as good as he is, and that was really the biggest surprise for me, is that he's coming in and he's playing lights out. Robinson is been as good as advertised. And then, like you guys have said, that defense is incredible. Like, I mean, if you're nitpicking, maybe the run defense could use a little help, because, I mean, they're sitting at 238 over 2 games, giving up 238 yards over 2 games. But that's like nitpicking, because even then, 238 yards on the ground is still not that bad in comparison to some of the other teams and what their yardage has been given up. So I don't even have to say much because y'all pretty much went over all of my notes for me. But yeah, like, I mean, the Falcons, yeah, they are nuts, man.
Oh man, and like I said, it's good to see right now. I'm not gonna say surprising, because I kind of picked them to win the NFC, and that was the Saints, but they've played like it should be surprising that they're 2-0, because then that first week it was like, oh, what is that? And then the second week you're like, oh, what was that? I needed to be like, oh, what is that this week? Because they're playing the Packers. I'm just throwing it in there. But it should be, it's kind of hard for me, because it's I want to say I don't want to say the Dolphins, because I don't know. It's hard for me to really choose. If I had to choose out of especially those undefeated teams, I probably would end up going with the Falcons as well. But it's only because I'm surprised that they're playing this well. They're just, it looks clean. It was struggle in the first half, but they looked really good in the second half. And like you said earlier, just persistence. They just did not give up. So it's going to be a fun season down there in Atlanta. I'll see them in a couple of weeks. We'll see how they do against the old Commanders. All right, let's head to the main flame. Our last topic before we hit to put out the fire. And then this last one, I thought this would be a fun one. We got, a lot of sporting events going on this weekend. Obviously, the NFL, Major League Baseball is in the playoff race. This one's for you, Joy. This baseball is right there in the playoff race. And so, there's a lot going on. The WNBA is in the midst of their playoffs. So in your eyes, y'all, I just wanted to know what's the sporting event or the sports, the game that to watch out for this weekend that you are excited about. And so, Lamont, I'll start with you. What's the matchup that you're looking forward to in one of the sporting events out there this weekend?
Oh man, I gotta go back to my man Prime, man. He's the most exciting thing right now. And they take on Oregon this week, and it's going to be his toughest test yet. It's going to be a lot to see. Bo Nix, man, Oregon's balling. I don't know if you've seen those cleats that they're wearing for this weekend, but they look absolutely insane. They're like the chameleon type thing going on. They change colors.
It's going to be
so
sweet.
Yeah, I mean, everything about the game is just so intriguing. Like where they match up. Their biggest test in the Pac-12. They got a few more games coming up with USC, to see how they're going to do without Travis Hunter. They're back against the wall. They really got to prove themselves, to this conference. And I think this is going to be really exciting to see. That's going to be the game for me. I got to watch.
Okay. Joy, I head to you. I know you're gonna give me something good here, Joy. What do you got here? What's the game? What am I looking for sporting event wise this weekend?
Dude, I honestly, I kind of have to again double down with Lamont. I mean, again, I know, shocker, I didn't go with baseball.
I really thought you were going with baseball. Like,
well, and what's funny is for those baseball fans, you should be paying attention to what's happening in the AL East right now because of the fact that there is a tie for first place in the AL East, which is absolutely insane. Insanity. Good Lord, can't speak English. And it is definitely something that you should be paying attention to. But both of those teams that are in first place are playing winnable games. So I wish they were playing each other because then I would have said that. But I again, like Lamont said, Coach Prime has just got the eyes of everyone right now. And the fact that they're ranked 19th and Oregon is ranked 10th, there's going to be a lot of eyes on that game. I hate that it's so early because I wish that would have got a primetime slot. But I really do believe that game is going to really impact Colorado and how everyone views Colorado going forward. That is such an impactful game because, in my opinion, it's Colorado's first real test. No offense, TCU fans, but you're not what you're supposed to be. And so you played a half of what it should be TCU, and then you play two teams that you're supposed to beat, but you really kind of struggle against Colorado State, and now you're playing your first real test in Oregon. And so I'm just curious to see how that game's going to go. I think that's going to be the marquee matchup to watch for sure.
Okay. James, we head to you, man. What's the game, the event that you're looking forward to this weekend?
Man, I'm tripling down on it, man. Colorado taking on Oregon, man. For me, that's the number one game that I'm looking to watch this weekend. As everybody stated, this is Colorado's first game playing against the Pac-12 opponent. Right now, they're 21-point dogs. I did take them to cover their spread because I just believe in what Prime's preaching, man, out there in Boulder. I believe in the team that they do have. Yes, they'll be down Travis Hunter, but, Coach Prime always talks about how he's looking for dogs, how he's got some dogs, and we're going to find out just what type of dogs he has coming this Saturday because it's going to take some guys to have to step up to replace with Travis Hunter, him being out. It's going to be some dogs that have to step up, man, to see if Colorado can get this win. Not to mention, we had talks of Shador possibly being a top 2, top 3 quarterback coming out in the draft. Now I know Deion's kind of, quailed some of that by saying I think he might stay another year or so. But Shedeur is a top player right now in college football. More than likely, he's looking to bring a Heisman back to Boulder, and he's got a great shot at doing that this upcoming weekend by taking on a legitimate power in Oregon. Not to mention Oregon, they got a quarterback on the other side in Bo Nix, where he's looking to put up some stats and some numbers to boost his draft stock this season. So, this is going to be a great game. I predict a great matchup. We'll see if Coach Prime and the Buffs can pull it out, man. And I'm not going to lie, if they do, we might got to fast order some Buffalo gear, man. I'm not going to lie.
Hey, look,
I heard it's on back order, but we might got to see if we got a plug or something out there.
Look, it's the hottest ticket. It's the hottest ticket in football. I mean, we're going to sit here. We can't even lie about it. I mean, it's like, you watch like ESPN in the morning, or if you watch one of those, the bigger networks per se, you watch one of them and it's either the Cowboys or it's Coach Prime, it's the Lakers, or one of the, but Coach Prime is the hottest thing right now. And everybody is they're in it. We heard Warren Sapp is going to join the coaching staff next year. So it tells you that he's bringing in Hall of Famers to teach these kids. It's going to, and I've seen Sapp at Commanders camp a couple times. It's going to be interesting to see. Now, I'm going to be the one to go the baseball route. I ain't gonna lie to you, Joe. I was like, Joey gonna hit me with some good baseball, but I'm gonna go to baseball right here. I love the fact that y'all are unanimous. Y'all got the same mindset on that. This is a selfish one. Big weekend in the AL West. The Mariners have the Rangers in a series this weekend. They're tied right now for that last wild card spot. The Mariners have the spot, but it's going to be a big series for them. They're only a game behind the Astros. It is a tight race in the AL West. They may get all 3 teams in, or they may only get 2. That's how tight it is right now in the AL West. The Astros got a small lead. Toronto's there, got like 85 wins, so they're right down, and 84 for the Rangers and the Mariners. So it's a big weekend, and I know you're gonna laugh, but I'm not gonna be paying attention because every time I pay attention to the Mariners, bad things happen. So I won't be paying attention, but I will be listening at the same time. So that's my big event this weekend. But it should be a lot of fun, and of course, Coach Prime is in the building. All right, I'm gonna get us a shot, y'all. We're gonna see what happens. Now it's time to put out the fire.
Fire, fire, burn on. Fire, 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 burn on. Fire, 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 legacy on fire.
Free my camera.
Oh, all right. I was nervous. I was a little bit nervous, but all right. So now it's time for us to put out the fire. Lamont, I'm going to start with you, sir. It's your turn to put out the fire.
All right. Well, while we're on the topic of Deion and his journey and what he's doing in college football, I'm going to say this. I hope that we do right by him, in terms of, being spectators of this moment in college football right now, and we don't turn him into the next clout chasing thing in sports. Every time somebody's up, they have a wonderful story. For some reason, it always seems like the sabotage is on, and I hope whatever it is, whenever it's coming, because it's going to be something, that we just remember why this guy is here and how many doubts he had to take and how many licks he had to take, to get to where he is, because he deserved a coaching job. He got shot down. He went back and got it the hard way at Jackson State. He went back and grabbed himself a degree. He came back and he did it the right way. Even before that, at Prime Prep, he was coaching. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he was making the impact on young minds as he is now. So I just hope we remember that, going forward.
All right. There it is, Lamont, putting out the fire. Just give Prime some time, y'all. Just give Prime some time. Make it happen. Get some Prime some time. Joey, we head to you, man. It's time for you to put out the fire, sir.
Speaking of giving people time, I wanna put the fire out on the Hokies.
They about to burn them up.
Yeah, look at James's face.
James like preach, brother, preach.
So okay, all right. So the biggest reason that I wanted to use this part to kind of talk about it is because of the fact that what I'm hearing around Blacksburg and what I'm seeing on like the Virginia Tech forums and things, like everybody's freaking out because they don't know if if Pry is really the guy or not. And honestly, like, take a step back and calm down for a minute, because you're talking about somebody who lost 8 starters against Rutgers. And you're talking about a team that's dealing with the injury bug. You're talking about a new head coach who's still trying to get his system involved. And, you had a bright spot with Kyron Drones in this game, who played really well, all things considered. And so just give the Hokies a little bit of time. Let's, take a step back. Let's figure this out. Let's take a deep breath, because I think too many people are freaking out right now. So let's just calm it down just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Joy said, just give him a little bit of time, man. And that's how I feel about Coach Elliott. We talked about that pre-hand. Just give the man some time. Like, it's early. All right? It's still early. James, we go to you last, brother, to put out the fire.
Oh, man. This week, I'm going to take it to the NFL and a team out west. The LA Chargers. The LA Chargers, I would say, have definitely been a disappointment so far in the season. They sit at 0-2 coming into the year after they just paid Justin Herbert. And not only on top of that, you have a Justin Herbert who you just paid. You have a Joey Bosa who's been paid. You have a Khalil Mack that you brought in. You have a J.C. Jackson that you've paid and brought in free agency. You have Derwin James. And then on top of all that, you're supposed to have this defensive guy who's supposed to be this mastermind as your head coach, a guy who coached up the defense that Aaron Donald and those guys used to win a Super Bowl or at least get there with. And it seems like he's just lost the mojo when it comes to running a team literally next door in the Chargers. Like, I don't know what it is, but since he's been there, the Chargers have disappointed. They made the playoffs last year. They had a huge lead. And then what happens? Defensively, they blow it. Well, how is that even possible? You're a defensive guy. You're a defensive coach. You have the names. Where's the scheme? Where is it coming? Where are you delivering on these wins as a defensive guy? I say if the Chargers lose this weekend, he should be gone. Honestly, I felt like he should have been gone last season after they blew the playoff game.
Yeah,
I mean, you're a defensive coach. You have a Joey Bosa. You have Khalil Mack. Do you know how many defensive coordinators would kill for a squad that he has?
Yeah, man.
Can you imagine what a Vic Fangio or a guy like that could do with his squad? And you have these pieces along with a quarterback and a running game, and you just can't get the job done. It's time to go. So either get it together, find a way to finish these games and win, or you got to hit the road, man, because it's ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous at this point.
Lamont said the Chargers keep charging, and that's just
they keep charging the card, they keep charging the fans, and the only thing they're not charging is W's.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Man, I feel like they've been the same since they went 14-2 with Turner and fired him. It's always been the same. It's like these guys just can't, for some reason. It's like they have everything they need, but for some reason it's not enough for them or for anyone else. For that,
it's crazy.
Like on paper, man, they have a squad.
They do on paper.
They just don't have.
Great.
They just don't have the right man to call the shots.
This has been like the 7th or 8th year that this has happened to them. Since, I mean, people have been picking them to go to the AFC Championship or to the Super Bowl for years. I'm talking at least like the past I would say
years here and there.
6 or 7 years out of the last 10. Back to when they had Phillip Rivers, they had weapons, they had pieces, they had guys on defense. They over and over again they've had the talent to do it, but they just haven't been able to get there.
It's been hard to watch because it just seems like they finally got back into the playoffs and then they lose that catastrophe of a game against Jacksonville. So come on, Chargers, get it together, Chargers. All right, well that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Here on I was about to flip shows on there here on Legacy on Fire. But before we go, we got a quick preview for you.
Chris's late catch at the end every time.
It makes me giggle every time I see it. So that's tomorrow night, y'all, 6:30 here on the Legacy Makers Sports Network, episode 2. My man, I'm sorry, with Joey, Chris, and Travis. It should be a really good one, man. I can't wait to check into that episode. So great job, Joey, man. Great job, you and the squad, man.
Yeah, what the best part about that ad is that's like genuine Chris. Like, you know, I mean, that it was scripted for him to miss it, but like he's genuinely one of the funniest people I know, and came up with the brainchild that is that show with me. And so I do appreciate Chris. I got to give him a huge shout out. But yeah, definitely check it out. It is a really funny show. Y'all are gonna love it.
I tell you, man. Look, all I know is the other ad where he's like folding his arms and he's like, "Yeah, you could at least put pants." that always makes me giggle. So yeah, I'll make sure I check that out tomorrow. So before we get out of here, Joey, anything you want to say to anybody out there before we get out of here, brother?
Yeah, just kind of like I've been shamelessly plugging all day. Definitely check out Sportsbology tomorrow, episode 2. We do some pretty crazy stuff. We even try some really weird ballpark food. I know that James is a Atlanta Falcons fan. I'm assuming, does that mean you're a Braves fan too?
I root for all things Atlanta.
Hey, that makes sense. So the Atlanta Braves actually have this weird like burger thing that is literally waffles as the buns. And then it's the burger, an easy up egg, and then a bunch of other random junk in it. Shout out to my fiance Katie for making that, because we actually try it in the show. We play a bunch of different like weird games and stuff. Yeah, I mean, it's a really fun show. Definitely check that out. Shameless plug. I'm gonna continue to do it.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Shameless plugs. Like I done dropped a couple in the show myself. Everything. Make sure you check out 101 on the Legacy Makers Sports Network. All that stuff like that. But the sandwich seems very tough. Lamont, anything you want to say before we get out of here, brother?
Yeah, man, I apologize to all the people for getting my Robin Big on, man, not being able to see you. Man, that's crazy. I guess I'm too hot for TV right now. It has been another good week, man, to chop it up with you guys, man, and I appreciate being able to be on here with y'all. And shout out to everybody in the Legacy Makers Sports Network and what we're doing. We got a lot of things coming out. So y'all, as always, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow us, and ride with us.
There you go. James, before we get out of here, anything you want to say, brother?
Hey, man, appreciate everybody for tuning in. As always, be sure to check out all the great stuff we got going on here at the Legacy Maker Sports Network. Shout out to everybody on the squad. We're doing a lot of things this year, definitely keeping it going. Shout out to all our people on Bowie TV, giving us a live listen. We see y'all Ravens out there 2-0, probably looking to go 3-0 this week. Exciting times, man. Just glad to be a part of it.
Yeah, man. Look, once again, I want to give a shout out to everybody just working hard. I'm very, very appreciative. If you get a chance, make sure you check out Victor. Victor had the coaches report tonight. Victor's been deep diving into some coaches and learning about how they coach, what it takes to become a coach. It's been a very insightful series. So if you're thinking about being a coach, you just want to pick the brain of a coach, make sure you check out Victor Sports Talk. He's been doing a really good job with the coaches report. We got Monster Minutes, Rebecca Cunningham, Quimby, just killing it every week. She'll be going to Martinsville in a couple weeks for the playoff matchup. We just proud of everybody on the team, man. Just keep pushing, keep grinding. Much love to everybody. And the last thing I want to say before they get out of here, I just want to dedicate this show, even though it's been a crazy show, but it'll sum up the week. I want to dedicate it to my father-in-law, James Young, who passed away this morning. Look, Papa Young, love you to death, man. It's been a really tough day. Just thank you for being a great father-in-law, and thank you for being a great grandpa to my children. I mean, they absolutely adore you. Will always adore you forever, man. So just, you're in a better place. And we're just, we're gonna miss you like crazy, man. That's one thing that I have to say. And I'll tell y'all this funny story real quick, and then we'll get off of here. When I first met my wife's father, I told him what my name was. I'm like, "How you doing today, sir? My name is Darrell." He said, "Sorrell, it's so good to see you. It's good to see you." He has never called me Darrell, but one time in 19 years. So just to say this, Darrell loves you, Papa Young, and that'll be forever. All right, everybody, that is it here. The Legacy Maker Sports Network, Legacy on Fire. We'll be back next week for episode 58 here on Legacy. Here on Legacy on Fire, here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network, and on Bowie Television. Until next time, everybody, see you next week.